Good evening and welcome to this edition of The Hot Seat. I'm Nidhi Razdan, and here's an interesting story about my guest tonight. It's believed that Atal Bihari Vajpayee once told her that both of us are Teflon-coated politicians. In other words, nothing negative can ever stick to us. Well, Mrs. Sheila Dikshit is well into her third term as the Chief Minister of Delhi. The phrase anti-incumbency that political pundits like to use quite often went completely out of the window when it came to her re-election, and I'm happy to have her on the hot seat today.
Thank you.
Is that story about Mr. Vajpayee true? Did that conversation happen?
Yes, it did, many years ago, when he was not in power, and just gone to see him because he was a little unwell. And so he said that. And it's something I remembered ever since. This must have been about 25, 30 years ago. And I remember it, and I recall it even now.
You recall it and do you believe it? Because when you look at what your political rivals have tried to do over the years, whether it's the law and order situation in Delhi, the transport system, every allegation, but here you are back for the third time.
Nidhi, this is a part of our lives. A politician's life is, the way Indira Gandhi was attacked, or even Mahatma Gandhi was attacked. So when you get into this political scenario and take an active part, it would be foolish of you to expect nobody's ever going to say anything.
You know, speaking of rivals, and you've had more than your fair share within your own party, and I see you're laughing about that. Just about 3 years ago, the then Delhi Congress president was at loggerheads with you, and it's no secret that sections of the party high command were backing him. Was that a very difficult time for you?
It was a painful time. It was painful, and I decided that let's not react to it, because once you go into a battle of words against each other, or get argumentative, then it only makes matters worse. So I took it in my stride, and I said, all right, what will be will be.
But was it particularly painful when you saw senior leaders within the party backing this?
Yes, it was painful, and I thought everybody was misunderstanding me and not really relying on what I was trying to do. And I also told myself that, it's not fair for everybody to understand you. I become a little reticent about myself. It's so difficult to keep on talking about yourself. Look, I've done this, look, I've done that. So I just let it be, and I said, well, work will speak for itself. And it did start speaking, because there were people, and a vast majority, a greater majority, who were for what I was doing. But only their voices were somehow subdued, and those voices which were critical became louder, even though there were few. But as I said, this is a part of politics. I've seen it happening so many years that didn't come as a surprise.
And then you had Sonia Gandhi the other day, full of praise for you at that rally in Delhi. Total contrast to some years ago.
No, that is very, very kind of her. She's normally also very reticent about both criticism and praise. But she's, I really felt very touched, because for me, she is the leader of the party, no doubt about that. But she's also personally, I have a lot of admiration for her. Her character, her instincts to do the right thing. She never falters, where her personal approach to things is concerned. And I have enormous admiration, enormous affection for her. So politics apart.
How's your personal equation with her? She's your neighbor. She lives down the road.
Well, no. In this Lutyens Delhi, we are not neighbors like other neighbors are in Delhi. We live,
you don't borrow sugar.
We may be in the next house, but still you see miles apart. But she's always been very understanding, and whenever I have spoken to her, she's understood. And whenever she's taken a decision which may not be what I thought should be, it hasn't hurt me one bit. But of course,
so you had disagreements with her.
I wouldn't say disagreements, it's a point of view, you see. She gets so much information, and mine is not the last information. And that she takes
from the people around her.
People around her, or others who may be going to her, they have a perception. She arrives at some decisions. But my experience with her has been that when it comes to the crunch, she does take the right decision. And I have enormous faith in her, almost blind faith.
When did you have a difference of opinion with her? Give us an example.
Oh, there have been many times which I have given my opinion. I wouldn't call it a difference of opinion, and she's never discouraged. She never discourages anybody from saying what they like. In fact, I think she's more than tolerant. But she's, there have been differences. For instance, I sometimes feel that this person is not right or that person, but then she gets pressed by somebody else. And I understand that, pressures will be there. People will have their own agendas. People have their own perceptions.
Are you talking about the Delhi Congress president or Jagdish Tytler?
No, you see, I feel a little sad that Jagdish Tytler ji seems to misunderstand me. I have never said a word about him, and I don't intend to.
Was it a mistake to even give him and Sajjan Kumar these tickets? Do you think that it should have been more thought out within the party?
Look, you see, the reason why tickets were given to them were that they contested the last election in 2004, wasn't it? Yeah, 2004.
Right.
Now, they won, both of them very handsomely, and therefore there was no reason to deny them a ticket now.
But should the party have just waited until the court's verdict was out?
I think that would have been a wiser thing to do, and waited till this whole thing was over. Because they were elected, yes, last time, and nothing happened. It was just this court case that came there, and then this incident about the shoe throwing and all. It flared up. So I think the party...
Did you express that opinion within the party that maybe we should have just waited, or we should wait until...
Well, I did say that let us wait, because we were, we were going into the election only in the third round. So there was time, they could have been told, but perhaps the parties thought otherwise. I have no, I don't want to say I said so or anything like that. No, that's not my way of looking at things, that's not my approach to things.
Was the Prime Minister himself reluctant to give these tickets?
The Prime Minister did not say anything, but he did not say anything. Yes or no or anything like that.
But you got a sense?
Because you see, there was this Nidhi ji, that last time they had won the election and no such issue had come up.
Now you were talking about, the advisors, as it were, right at the top and the high command. And now there's this impression about the Congress party that you have this very powerful group of people close to the high command who are arrogant, who are powerful, and actually leave very little room for party democracy. Is that a fair assessment?
No, I think it could be an assessment for the moment. But then if you look at Indira Gandhi's time, there was the kitchen cabinet and this and that and the other. All kinds of things like this, I said. And I can tell you one thing, the moment a person gets near a leader or is perceived to be near a leader, and I can tell you that all leaders will consult many. But then, they get the flack. If you're not sitting there, then nobody's bothered about you, what you say or you don't say. But because you're sitting in a position perceived to be the most powerful or whatever it is, then you get the flack, and then you get the blames also.
Let's be candid here that, you are now you're one of the most powerful political leaders now in the Congress party. And,
what is powerful?
And, well, you can be modest about it. And whispers have already started doing the rounds, perhaps future leader, that kind of thing. And that the higher you rise, the more those in the coterie want to bring you down. And that in fact the Congress has this tendency of shooting itself in the foot when it comes to these things.
And Nidhi ji, the coteries keep changing, So that is a part of the system, as many people believe. And historians say that Delhi is a place which is full of coteries through history, So that is there. But how am I powerful?
You're a 3-time chief minister in a row.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
It's a tiny little state, and it's a capital of the country, no doubt. And the people have been recognized what the government has done.
No,
here,
I'm
the
saying
Congress
that do you see more people baying for your blood within the party now that you're politically, your star is rising even more?
Nidhi ji, you believe me, I have no time to listen to gossip.
Let me ask you the favorite political question of the season. We love asking this question to every leader, especially Congress leaders. But your assessment of, Rahul Gandhi as a potential prime minister in the future. You think he's ready?
Look, he himself has said he's working extremely hard, and he's moving around the whole country, getting the grasp of what this country is all about. The huge differences in development and differences in requirements and all. He's understanding. And it would be unfair to say that he's going to become the Prime Minister just now.
Well, not now. But
in future, if he shapes up well, he's doing very well now. If you look at the Rahul Gandhi of 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he's a much more confident, much more knowledgeable about India person. He's making the right sounds. And it's difficult to say the future. He will make his own future, and people, the party, would be very, very much behind him.
Well, what about Priyanka? What are your thoughts on her? I mean, she's kind of not ruled out politics in the future now, but she's very charismatic. And do you think, in your opinion, that it would be good if she did step in?
Well, she certainly is very charismatic, and she's also very natural. You see, she's not one of those who is saying something and meaning something else, or is very cautious.
It comes to her.
It's come to her.
Do you think that could really be another turning point for the party if Priyanka was to get actively involved?
Yes, of course it will be. Of course it will be. The day she decides, I think there will be great joy and happiness. It's her own reluctance and her own reasons. But the party would welcome her with more than open arms. And I think if you compare the brother and the sister, they are kind of balance each other out, She comes out, he's a little cautious, but he's also learning, and he's truthful.
You find her more spontaneous?
He's developed into a much more spontaneous person now. And if you meet him personally, he is extremely eager to learn.
You're a very candid person. You're a very candid politician. What do you think is the overall picture? It can't be a completely rosy picture for the Congress. I know you're not going to say that, but do you realistically see a third front at all? Do you think it's going to be a Congress-led government again? Or do you think that you might have to work a little at the numbers? What's your honest assessment?
Look, I tell you, the real battle which is across the country is with the BJP and the Congress. And the BJP's campaign and its talks, the way its speeches and all, are talking of issues which are not relevant, and that they are a little negative. Like, for instance, if we had a slogan called Jai Ho, they had a slogan called Bhai Ho. Now, when I ask the people what sounds better in your ears, it is Jai Ho, obviously. Now, so I think somewhere they seem to have lost track of time. That they're still stuck on the mandir. They're still stuck on the old thing, Hindutva.
What do you think of this growing clamour within the BJP that we've seen in the last few days about Narendra Modi as a possible future Prime Minister? You really think he has a chance?
You see, Narendra Modi is a good administrator, no doubt about it, and he has given the impression about him is that yes, he is a good administrator. But he is also a highly communal person. Now, in this country, you cannot be a communalist. You have a multifaceted society. You have enormous diversity. And in a democracy, every individual is important. Every vote counts. Now, how he plans to become a Prime Minister of this country, because the Godra scenes are going to come right back.
They'll always haunt him.
Yes, they'll always haunt him. And not only haunt him, haunt the people more than haunt him.
And the allies, of course.
Yes, and the allies. But all right, a good administrator, if that's the only job of a political leader, then you might as well have a good chief secretary and a good cabinet secretary and let them lead the country.
But at least, you're being candid and saying, yes, he's a good administrator. You think he's done a lot.
He is. He's perceived to be a good administrator. He's supposed to be a decisive kind of a person. But
that's not
what
enough.
is forgivable and unforgettable is his attitude towards a divisive society.
Now, I read somewhere that you have a strong desire to sit behind the wheel of a car and drive at 120
Yes,
miles an hour.
Yes, I do.
Why?
Oh, because I always drove myself straight after college. When I was 18, we used to get our driving license. I always drove my own car, and married, I never had a driver. And so now I have a driver. And sometimes I feel like getting behind the wheel and driving. But I'll tell you, everybody in the family refuses to allow me because I'm a very fast driver.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you a very funny incident when I was driving through. This was a good 20 years ago. I was driving through that Buddh Jayanti Park, the road, lonely road which joins Karol Bagh to this Chanakyapuri. I was driving at a merry 90%.
90?
Yes. Oops. It was because the road was absolutely. So came a police fellow right in front of me. He said, "Madam, मैं आपको चालान करने वाला हूँ." मैंने कहा, "कहिए." He said, "आप 60 से ऊपर ड्राइव कर रही थी." I said, "नहीं, आपको गलत फहमी है, 90 पे कर रही थी." So he said, "अच्छा जाइए, आगे से मत करिए."
But do you have a similar desire to drive that quickly on the political highway? Would you like to perhaps see a greater role for yourself in the central leadership now?
I think that decision I would leave to the
party
who decides all that. I have at the moment got a job to do, which is the Commonwealth Games. And I think we need continuity for that. We should do that. And after that, whatever happens, I take it.
But eventually, you'd like to have a bigger political role at the center?
Nidhi ji, I've really never thought of it. I'll tell you, my life has been one big...
Come on, that's the politically correct answer.
No, it's not political. I'm telling you really the truth. That, I never thought I was ever going to come to Delhi politics. I was in UP. I never thought that. Never, not even in my dreams. I live in Delhi. I've been brought up in Delhi. I am a Delhiite. But I had gone to UP and contested an election from there. Now, suddenly I was made this. But, and I enjoyed it. I must say that beating the BJP in 98 was quite a job, and we did it. We came with a huge, massive majority. Next time around again. So I enjoy what I do. I enjoy a film, I enjoy a play, I enjoy reading a book, I enjoy listening to music. I enjoy the family, I enjoy friends. So I'm just one of those people who just enjoys. And whatever I'm asked to do, so be it.
All right, well, I can tell you a lot of people do think that you will be playing a greater role at the center eventually.
As I said, that's the decision of the High Command.
Very diplomatic answer, but Mrs.
Not diplomatic, is a truthful answer. How can I say I want to do this?
Well, why not? Everyone has ambitions.
No, you may
especially
have
in politics.
But how does your ambition stem from what? It has to be a reality, na? I have an ambition. You have an ambition. We all have an ambition. But we keep that ambition saying, all right, when it comes to, we'll see. But I don't go after astrologers or soothsayers to tell me, yes, next year you're going to become this, or third year you're going to become that. So you take it in your stride. And I must tell you, really, however small this job may be considered in the larger context of India and Indian politics, I enjoy it because I treat Delhi like a home, like any woman would treat a home. So for me, it's a labor of love and passion.
All right, well, Mrs. Dikshit, it's really wonderful to have had you on this show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.